So it's starting to sizzle up a little bit with the altcoins, isn't it? Problem is, are we going to be screaming alt season because it's genuinely happening, or are we going to get a fake out? Now, altcoin dominances across most assets in the top 10 are going up. USD dominance is going down, and that's a big factor that people talk about. But there is one big fact that we're all missing. Let's talk about that bit. If you appreciate the no bullshit cryptocurrency updates, please do hit that like button and obviously hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like a full breakdown of what I'm going to do in the next coming weeks, watch along. Let's talk about volume first in terms of ETF aggressive nature of the ETF volume. We will talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum in a minute. But Bitcoin's doing all right, has been for a while. But Ethereum is finally doing something. Oh my God. So this is a main factor to a lot of the facts of why the altcoin market's doing well. And if you've been following me on X, you would have heard me say, look out for companies that are buying into Ethereum to put on their balance sheet. Just saying. Now, let's talk about some news. First bit of news is this has happened. Even though it got rejected, maybe a little bit of hush money in backhanders. This has now been voted as a pass, obviously. So things look a bit better, and yeah, it's reacted positive. Yeah, whatever. Still early days, chili beans, right? The next bit of news we've got to talk about is some lagging data, but the obvious one is the Bitcoin Golden Cross aspect. The 2000% BTC gains is already here. Okay, cool. Clickbait or what? So yeah, price action's looking good. We've gone above certain levels, and we have a chance to go to $155,000, which is kind of within my ballpark figure, anyways. But as you can imagine, this is lagging data. Please don't get caught out by the hype. I think if you are genuinely thinking, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin today, and I've never bought it ever before, you're probably a bit late. Just saying, if you're accumulating Bitcoin and you have been for a very long time, that's fine to continue as you so wish to if you believe in that mechanism. But if you've never held Bitcoin before, don't start now. I know it sounds obvious, but people forget that. And we're going to talk about some dumb shit. XRP has been doing very well. Congratulations, XRP holders. However, Dave, you are the shittest investor I've ever seen. You're as bad as that Cathie Wood, honestly, right? This is the guy that in 2020, 2021 set up a full wallet with the Winklevoss twins and shat his load all over his carpet by literally selling on one little dip, and he could have made millions. Now he's done this, is an absolute fucking numpty. And the final bit of news is the obvious news, which I mentioned just before, is that companies are buying Ethereum. Now this is a bit of a weird one. Joseph Lobin, this is essentially his bad company. He was one of the co-founders of Ethereum, so it's kind of obvious that he was going to pick Ethereum. So maybe it leads to more and more people doing it. I don't know. We will see. Maybe not. We don't know. So that could be fun. Now, let's talk about this thing called Bitcoin. You may have heard of it. Doing relatively well. It's kind of hitting these, I wouldn't say toppy vibes, but it's certainly slowing down. But altcoins have breathed quite a big sigh of relief and are starting to roll a little bit. And we will talk about that, and that's important. But realistically, yes, stable currency dominance at the lows, dropping at the bottom of my chart here, is dropping down into new lows. Hopefully it goes below 5%, and then we'll get a real big juicy run. But let's talk about Ethereum. We've finally broken out. So we hit levels of support around here. And if you were watching my channel, you would have known that I was talking, well, certainly in my Patreon, about this range, this killer range. And I was talking about altcoins have the key, and it's all with Ethereum. This holds the key to the kingdom, right? And all of a sudden, we've broken out. And you can look at, companies buying Ethereum. You can look at the Ethereum ETF doing very well, and all the other situations around that. And what has it led to? Every single altcoin has gone for a little bit of a squirt to the upside. Nothing that's euphoric enough to get people like retail back. That's the missing ingredient, by the way. Spoiler alert. Just saying. I was in a very good trade here. I have taken 50% off this actually because I think it is going to pull back a little bit. We can't go up forever. But what I will say is this. Look at the BTC dominance. It's looking relatively good. And I do think we need to cover this in a bit more detail. Now, there's a monster welcome bonus if you're interested in trading. It's on Blowfin. 20% back on fees. So if you're trading and you're aggressively trading, you'll get some money back so you don't lose loads. Link below. Now, easy mode, technically, could be coming up very, very soon if we get enough of a run. The problem we have is, and going back on my channel a couple of months ago, we were looking at a potential alt season, but it just vanished. First thing we need to look at, and we always need to look at, is not the Bitcoin dominance chart. Unfortunately for you, it's actually the stable currency dominance. This is existing liquidity coming back to the market, and this has been going pretty well, and it is going lower, and we need it to go lower, as I mentioned before, lower than 5%. That would give us a much bigger run. Now, with regards to that, have I missed out? No. This is still here. We can argue a lot of things here regarding this, and this is like a little mini blueprint that I made this morning on learning crypto, right? If you bought the lows and you took profit and then you rebought back at these lows and then you take profit here, you're going to make some money. That's kind of how it works. And this is the thing. Do you have the nerve to not be in altcoins for so long? And I kind of was in and out of them a little bit. And I was in Bitcoin for a long time until recently, where I am now considering, I've not done it yet. Maybe, who knows? Check on Patreon if you want to know. Buying into some altcoins because they're quite low in value, and I could maybe easy mode it and make some Bitcoin potentially in an alt season when retail return. Just saying. So all of that kind of stuff is good, but it's very, very early and not confirmed yet. However, that gives you an idea. But as I say, if you look at this chart, buy low, sell high, right? Basically, buy low when the altcoins are perished in the BTC pair. And if you find something that is of interest, you may well do okay. This is going to correlate between why the Bitcoin dominance chart is falling. But this is the longest run of the Bitcoin dominance we've ever had, which has made it very, very hard, which is why people have suddenly died and not came back. And they might be a classic rotation behavior coming. And a lot of people who were in the market will probably miss it, and they will come running back, screaming back like a banshee, and then we'll probably get destroyed again because they think it's going to go higher, but it's already ran too hard. That's kind of where we are. And that kind of gives you XRP vibes in terms of how speculative this is going to be as it runs and it gets people back into the market. Likewise with other assets such as Dogecoin and other meme coins, people are going to look very, very speculative at certain assets. It's going to get very, very, very interesting very, very quickly. But I'm going to say it, I've said it before, we haven't really confirmed a full-on alt season yet. Retail isn't here yet. Views aren't flying. Volume isn't flying yet. It's weird. It looks good, but it hasn't fully got that tick in the box just yet. Now, weirdly, my opinion's a bit wishy-washy sometimes, right? Yes, altcoins are breaking out. Yes, Ethereum's looking stronger. Yes, XRP's made a new all-time high. Yes, this, that, and the other. But what about the interest rates? What is the FOMC going to be on the 30th? And I think, as the forecast suggests here on Trading Economics, probably a pause still. Maybe September the 17th, that might be where we get our first rate cut. But will that create a bit of a spike to the downside and a bit of wobbliness? I don't know. And we've got to look at the fact that, well, the obvious fact here, and I'm just going to kind of backtrack a little bit. We've got to look at the fact that the S&P 500, right? Literally, where is it? There it is still flying to the moon. We've got the Russell doing much better than it was. We've got obviously the Nasdaq as well. And the dollar is still dropping, but we still have to look at the fact that there may be tariffs around the corner. So we have to be very, very mindful until we get a real confirmation that euphoria is here. Now, I want to kind of talk about the euphoria. As much as this is my opinion and strategy, when it is euphoric, like genuinely like getting towards like it's just bubbling away and it just keeps on going, that is where it gets easier because the market will run up higher. And you'll look at the previous cycles, you'll look at the previous highs, and you think, where can this potentially go? And you got to look at a lot of altcoins, you got to look at a lot of assets as well. They're miles away from their previous high, like miles away. They're probably not ever going to get anywhere near their all-time highs, which is mad. But there's probably money to be made on the upside. And I'll give you a live example of this. So look at Polkadot, random example, a coin that I used to love. Previous all-time high, we're at the fucking floor. And this is when Bitcoin is at a much higher price point than what it was here. When you then look at the BTC pair and you look at the fact of where it was in terms of Satoshis and where it is now, it may well retrace even up to like levels here or even here. You could make a lot of money by just buying the lows, following the hype, and then just getting out. Use and abuse, get out. That's the simple top and bottom of it. So you got to be very, very, very careful with what you do. But ultimately, again, look at the psychology of people. Are people who have been here before, maybe there might not be as many people as last time, They might just be like, I bought Polkadot in 2021. I want to buy it again because it's cheap. Wow, it's $4. Whoa, I want to buy that again. It might go to 55. And then the psychology will just eat on them. Ew, I'm going to get into it. And then more and more people buy into it. So yeah, it's one of those situations, isn't it? It's a bit barbaric, but that's my personal opinion. We're not fully there yet, but when it does happen, it will be easy mode and you've never seen it before. Well, good luck to you because it is pretty spectacular. And if you want to follow my moves and what I might be rotating into, or what runes I'm buying, or what time magic, internet magic money is going to get listed on Kraken or whatever, check out Patreon. There's a link below. It's 50% off for the first month. But as I say, keep an eye on what's happening. If you are still in the game right now and you've never left, you're probably in a very, very good position to capitalize if, keyword if, this is real and if we're going to fly. But right now, we need to wait for a confirmation on those total 3/BTC. Is it going to continue trending up? Is stable currency dominance going to go down? And will we get confirmation on Bitcoin dominance? Is that genuinely just going to fall and keep falling?